ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Bitcoiners, Ethereumers, XRP, Cardano, whatever your coin of choice is. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Crypto Dinner 33. Play Adele, Carmen! 1, 2, 2. I can't hear anything through this microphone.
Nothing.
Put your hand up if you can hear me.
Check.
Yeah?
Check.
Well, everyone, is that because I'm shouting?
Check.
Can you still hear me now?
Hello.
More? Can you give me a little? I'm on 1, not 2. 1, 2, 2.
Check.
1, 2, 2. 2. We're having technical difficulties today.
Check.
As ever, when there's 2 extra pieces of technology, things don't start to work. Just 1 second, Guillermo. What's it look like back there? Okay? Yeah? So weird. Okay. Well, look, guys, we're going to have to... do I have your permission that we're going to work with what we've got? Yeah. Do I have your permission? Yeah. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. I'll have a look at it once we get going. There's a lot of red lights flashing on here. I can't forget Chris's mic for now. 1, 2. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 2, 2. Is that reverbing?
It's not your mic. It's something with
It is scratching a bit, isn't it? 1, 2, 2, 2. Okay, we're going to have to just rock and roll as we get going anyway. So I do apologize. So I am really grateful before we begin to Zitla. We have 80 people here today. Normally we have about 120 to 150. So I'm just really grateful for these guys for staying open. Everyone's in a seat. I hate having to start with health and safety. It's like the boringest bit in the world. However, in order for this event to continue, we need everyone in their seats, or at least to have a seat. So just moving across. Everyone's good with their seat, because if we do, we have a good event. Looks good? All right, then, for Zitla Sieber for being able to put on this event and really balancing that line between being closed and staying open, please can we begin with a round of applause for these guys, because without them, we wouldn't be here. Okie dokie, so we have 2 types of events. How many events do we have? 2. This is our speaking event where we have 1 microphone and we try to have 1 conversation. 1 second, my lovely ladies there. You got a seat? Apparently. Go and find it. Cool. After this event, we have our socials, and on our socials, same place, same time every week, we can have multiple events. It's where you all get to chat to each other, have a few drinks, let some of the barriers drop down a little bit. The reason I say that, and especially because our microphones right now are not as perfect as they should be, is that we try and have 1 conversation. And so if someone next to you is poking, can I just have your permission? Everyone look at their left hand. Left hand. If you're not too sure, it makes a L. Okay, put your left hand in the air. Okay, put it in the air. Point it like this. And what I want you to do is to put it just next to you here, and the person next to you, just get them in the ribs a little bit. Just a little bit, yeah? That's the you're making noise, I'm trying to pay attention and listen finger. So everyone has my permission to poke the person next to you if they're making too much noise. If you don't, then I'll encourage you to do it, because we are trying to have 1 conversation. So we have been doing these events since like what?
March 2021.
March 2021. Fuck, it's 2022. Welcome to 2022, everyone. So we've been doing these events since last year. It started with us just having a bit of a social to meet other people in crypto. And very quickly, something formed, which is what we're at today. And we care about 2 things. We care about socialness, being together, and we care about and crypto, of course. Yeah, we do care about crypto, yeah, definitely. But what we really care about is like contribution. Like, I want you guys to be as involved. This isn't just someone speaking. We do have a fantastic speaker here who, I'll move on to that in a second. But really what we're looking for is interaction. We're looking for you guys to ask the questions, because although we bring content, we bring people, we bring conversation, conversation's a 2-way street. And we're not sat here as experts, we're sat here as people. And we might have some expertise, but without having people at the other side, oh, we have nothing. So don't be afraid to ask any questions, to raise your hand. If you want to raise your hand, we all know what the left hand is for. Yeah? The poking hand. So now I want you to look at your right hand. It's the opposite one to your left. That's it. Wave it like this a little bit. I want to see some wavy hands. If you're not going to do this, you're definitely not going to ask a question. All right, raise your hand in the air and repeat after me. I have a question. I can't hear you. I have a question. That's your question hand. Poking hand. Raise it. Yeah, poking hand. Raise it. Question hand. Raise it. Poking. Question. Poking. Poking.
Left-hander, what then?
If you only have one hand, you can use it for both. All right, so without further ado, we have a person with us today called Aaron. Everybody, I want you to say, hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
And before we started these crypto events, Aaron was the first person here in Player to start any crypto event. And so as much as today we have a team and we've put on all these events and everything, we actually have this man right here to thank for first raising the flag to say, hey, I'm going to talk about crypto. Would anyone else like to talk about it? And so for that reason, could you all please give the wonderful Aaron a round of applause for starting this off here and playing out, Carmen?
Actually, what happened, we did this monthly,
That one,
and
yeah.
then these guys said we want to do it weekly, and I'm just too lazy to do it weekly. And of course now it's much bigger here, and also I left and traveled, so I'm very happy about this.
That should work.
Fork, this very successful fork in a way.
This is our hard utility for, wasn't it?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Does this mic work?
We're going to work on microphone volumes in a
Hello?
minute.
Do you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know, left or right hand, middle hand, I don't know. Okay, good.
Okay.
You want to say some more words, or is it my
No,
turn
do you know
now?
what? I'm gonna sort out the audio.
Yeah, okay.
So Aaron's gonna do his own self-introduction and everything. So please, for the last time, please just give Aaron a big round of applause and welcome to our 33rd event. And I'll try and work out some audio stuff. I'll
Thank
leave
you so
to
much
it.
for doing this amazing work here, you guys. Amazing team. Thanks so much for carrying on the good vibe. I will talk about crypto art, NFTs, CryptoCulture, something you might have heard before, maybe even at this meetup. It has been the big hype of, I would say, the last year. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. So, but maybe some people still mix it up. Some people might think NFT is a new art form, or what exactly is crypto art. So my first part, I will give you like a basic introduction. If I say something wrong, please correct me with your left or right hand, I don't know. And then later I will talk about some things that I'm doing with these things, an exhibition and a book that you might also want to buy later if you can for crypto. But let's start with this question. No, let's start with my introduction. Yeah, my name is Aaron Koenig. I'm in this crypto space for a bit more than 10 years now, quite a long time. I'm not an investor, I'm not a developer, anything like that. I'm more like a communicator. So this is my 5th book that I wrote about the topic. I've wrote 4 books in German and some in English. I've done lots of films, mostly explainer videos for crypto companies. I don't know, something like 100 or so. We're still doing that. I've started a conference in Germany. I've been an MC and speaker at several conferences, especially the Latin American Bitcoin conference, which is every year in a different Latin American country. And now, since I would say 2020, I'm also pretty involved in art, in crypto art. I manage a young artist called Max Cryptohead. I guess it's a pseudonym. And I'm managing a crypto art gallery, and I'm also involved with this crypto art marketplace Carnival, which will be launched soon. But now, what exactly is crypto art? Yeah, crypto art is much longer around than NFTs. I would say the first crypto artworks have probably appeared not much longer after Satoshi's white paper. So for instance, this artist, Crypto Graffiti from San Francisco, he's been doing art that talks about crypto since 2013. This is a very famous artwork. I even put it on the cover of my book here, HODL. I guess many of you know what HODL means, but does everybody, who does not know what HODL means? Please, whatever hand, yeah? Okay, everybody knows. Okay, but not everybody. It's just one of these silly crypto expressions. It just means hold. Just hold your Bitcoin, whatever happens. The cost goes up, the cost goes down. You don't care. You just hold them. And it started out with a typo in some forum, and it became this kind of viral, funny meme. And now all the Bitcoiners, they wear HODL shirts, and their conference called HODL or whatever. So it's one of these crypto memes that have like somehow gone viral. style. And you might know the famous pop artwork Love by Robert Indiana. Maybe more people know that. So and he wrote HODL in the style of that pop artwork. So for me, this is kind of a crypto art in a nutshell. Yeah. For the crypto people, they might ask why is it written in such a funny way, and the pop art fans, they of course know this pop artwork, but they don't know what HODL is. So we reached the two audience here with that. And many of these artworks, even before this big NFT boom, they have crypto as a topic. You know, that you see lots of Bitcoin logos. Here's an Ethereum logo. This is this world famous guy, Beeple, who sold an NFT for how many millions? 69 or a lot of money. This is Into the East, yeah, obviously with the Ethereum logo, but playing with the space to the moon, to the east, whatever. So this is something that you can observe all over the place, that the crypto artists, they visualize the whole crypto movement. Yeah, you see a lot of that. You see pixelated Bitcoin logos, which, yeah, if that is really art, one might question. Also, this other phenomenon here. This was actually the very, very first NFT back in 2016 on the Bitcoin network on this layer called Counterparty, the famous Rare Pepe, which also started as some comic book cartoon figure, but also got viral, and then it got its own NFT platform, and people were trading these collectibles, and that was actually the very first NFTs. I think it wasn't called NFT then, but it has all the qualities of NFTs. I come to that a little later. You might also have seen these funny guys, the CryptoPunks. Some of them sell for $100,000 of dollars. They're just little pixel drawings, and they're not even drawn by a human being. They're the product of artificial intelligence, of some computer algorithm that put together all these different traits, like the hairdo and whether they have a pipe or sunglasses or whatever. 10,000 of these exist. Every one of those is unique. So it has become, yeah, a kind of cult, and now everybody's copying this model. Yeah, the CryptoPunks started it. They're having lots of those images generated by computer program, and the designer just decided what are the elements, and then some are very rare and some are very normal. And if you have one of these very rare punks who has got, let's say, a red mohawk and a joint and sunglasses, then this is a super, very rare, very strange punk, and it might sell for $1 million. And you might question, is this really art? Is this really worth $1 million? But of course, this question always comes up with art, right? I mean, whether it really has that value. Well, we can debate this, of course, yeah. But it's not something like specific to crypto art, I would say. Or here, this other very, very famous example, which for a time was like responsible for the high amount of the traffic on the Ethereum network, the CryptoKitties, which is also something generative, where two kitties together can breed another one. So things happen. It has some kind of game quality to it. And of course, it plays with this meme of the cat pictures. You know, I mean, everybody loves cat pictures. I mean, you know, the internet was invented to trade cat pictures. That's the whole purpose of that thing, one might think. So it's also like a little bit playing with the craziness of the internet. So, and of course you might ask the question, is this really art? These pixelist punk, or these kitschy kittens, all that. Everything that's now being sold on these platforms. Of course, many people from the old artwork, they look at that, look down and say, oh, come on, what's that? This like teenage, like silly stuff. But then, if you look a little bit back in art history, there was always a question, is this art? When Marcel Duchamp, back in 1904, 7, or whenever that was, beginning of 20th century, just took a urinal from some kind of market and just placed it in an exhibition, said, now this is a piece of art. Of course, people were shocked. People had this totally different idea of art, and then Marcel Duchamp came, and the Dadaists, and they all destroyed this good old, beautiful world of art, and that was a good thing, I think. I mean, we brought a lot of dynamic and a lot of innovation to the artwork, and now, of course, the second one who would do the same thing, it's like the second one doing the CryptoPunks, right? That's the thing with art. If something is new and innovative, it might be shocking, it might be different, then it's art, but then if somebody else just copies it, it's just boring, right? Or another example here, Andy Warhol. when Andy Warhol in the 60s started to just take pictures from the commercial world, like advertising, pop icons, and just printed them on canvas or whatever. People also said, well, this is art. I mean, come on, this is just advertising. And of course he did it with a purpose. Of course this kind of criticizes the consumerist society. I mean, of course there's much more meaning to it than just selling something, yeah? So the whole pop art revolution is also something that which also questions art, and I think it's a totally typical thing. So, or another bit more contemporary example, Jeff Koons, who played with this idea of kitsch and did these terrible things like Michael Jackson with his chimpanzee and gold and porcelain. I mean, is this art or is it kitsch? Of course, he also did it like on purpose. He played with these cliches, and so I think it's quite smart to do that. And what we see now, this whole like NFT crypto art revolution, I think there's some similarities to it. Of course, the old people, the people who have, you know, their legacy, they say, this is not really art. And then some people, they jump on the bandwagon and think, we just have to copy it and make a lot of money. But of course, it's not that easy, yeah? The question is now, of course, what exactly is crypto art? How would you define that, this crypto art thing? And I have there are two definitions, I would say. And my favorite one is that crypto art is art that reflects our culture, our crypto culture, that I think many of us here, for sure here, these beautiful people, we live it, yeah? We live it every day. We go to meetups. We might wear like silly t-shirts like that. We define ourselves as Bitcoiners or crypto people, whatever. And this, of course, reflects in a certain a form of art. So you see a lot of these Satoshi Nakamotos or the honey badger, you see the Lambo on the moon. There are all these funny expressions that for us crypto people are totally normal. Yeah, we talk like that. And then other people, they look at us and what are you talking about? Is it Chinese? And this is a totally normal thing. And I would predict that in 10 years from now, this will not exist anymore. Nobody will wear a Bitcoin t-shirt. Nobody will talk to the honey badger or say to the moon. Or I guess there will not even be any of these meetups anymore because it will be so normal. Everybody will pay with Bitcoin, just something you don't talk about. I'm old enough to have been to internet user meetups in the 1990s. Which is like a silly thing today. Everybody uses the internet. That's so normal. I guess there were like telephone user meetups in the early, 20th century. So it's always normal for a new thing that people somehow identify with it, something comes up, some culture, but it will disappear. So everything that we experience now, all these NFTs and these crypto artworks, it might be history in 10 years. Actually, that's one idea why I did this book, that this might be a piece of history in like 10 years or so. So this one thing is that crypto art reflects crypto culture. And then the other thing, of course, crypto art uses the technology. It uses crypto technology. So here's another artwork by Crypto Graffiti, where you could, this is a physical piece, yeah, not an NFT, just a artwork. It is actually, it consists of shredded credit cards. It's from this Bitcoin logo. If you go closer, you see that. And you can send money to this artwork. And it's called the Valuation Project. And also has this question, what's the real value of art? Yeah, how can you measure the value of art? Very difficult. In this particular case, you can see it. You can see it on the blockchain. So when people like this artwork, they tip, they donate, and you can see on the blockchain how much, and you see the value of the artwork.
Aaron,
in a way.
Just a quick. I'm over here to your right. Just a quick question. What's underneath the B? Like, is that what is the image there?
Yeah, that's a good. I don't know this artwork by. I don't know exactly what this. Probably something.
It looks like a cable.
Yeah,
of course, you can send. It's got to be connected to the internet. That's going to be an Ethernet cable.
Yes, I think it's the internet connection. I think that there must be some mechanism to produce a QR code that you can scan. Mm-hmm. So. Ask Crypto Graffiti about the details. Maybe we ask them the next time to come here.
Cool.
I just like this idea of that it's kind of an interactive artwork that you can communicate with. Yeah. This artwork, this is obviously a portrait of Vitalik Buterin, the inventor of Ethereum, in this like Picasso-esque Harlequin costume with the Ethereum logo. And the background of this artwork changes according to the Ethereum gas price. So it changes a lot, I think, in the last time. So this artwork always changes. It's kind of generative art in a way. It interacts with outer data sources, which is, I think, an interesting thing. Yeah, now of course the NFT. That's probably the biggest buzzword of the last 1-2 years, the non-fungible token. This here is like in the form of an MTV logo by Mexican crypto artist Mojara, who like played around with that a little bit. Non-fungible, what does it mean? I mean, it's basically just another word for interchangeable. And normally you don't say non-fungible because everything else in the world except money is non-fungible. The only thing that is, I think we need some poking fingers here. Money has to be fungible. That's one of the qualities of money. Are you okay there? Oh, yeah, okay. The waiter, okay.
I think he's just taking an order.
Oh, fine.
Sorry,
Yeah,
we'll have to
fine.
just deal with it. Keep
Yes,
going.
of course. Money has to be fungible. If I borrow money from Chris, let's say, yeah, he lends me $100, and then 1 week later I give him 2 notes of $50 or 5 of 20, he doesn't care. He wouldn't say, oh, but I gave you that $100 note with that serial number and I want exactly that back. No, as long as it's $100, it's totally fine. But if he borrows me his car and he lends me his wonderful Mercedes and I give him back a shitty old Nissan, he will probably complain and not say, yeah, it's a car that has 4 wheels. No, many things in life, actually everything in life is non-fungible. Just money is an exception. And art, of course, especially. Art has to be unique and rare, scarce. You know, art has only a value if there's some scarcity around it. That one painting, that one sculpture, or of course with digital art it's a little bit different. Yeah, scarcity. With digital art it's always been difficult because, as you know, digital files can be copied endlessly. You can make millions and millions of copies, and the quality is always the same, which is great for music files or videos, as well, if you ask the consumer. If you ask the music industry, they might have a different opinion, but for us consumers, it's great. We can just copy, can share. But for art, it wouldn't work. Art has to be scarce. But also that is not such a totally new thing, because, for instance, prints, like, you know, screen prints or photographies, they also could be copied. So what did artists do to make them into something valuable? Limited editions. So you had a picture, but maybe on a very nice photo paper, and with a signature of the photographer and a limited number. This is 3 out of 20 signed by Helmut Newton, and so it was an artwork, and you would pay $10,000 for it. Whereas the same picture you could see in a magazine or a book, at a poster, and you pay nothing, or $5 or so. So this kind of artificial scarcity, by adding a signature and by adding a number, it's nothing totally new. We have seen that in the art world. So an NFT is basically that. An NFT is not an artwork. It's not an art form. It's just a certificate of ownership that works with digital cryptography. So it adds a digital signature to an artwork, and it adds a serial number, and that, of course, kind of produces a scarcity. You might question, I mean, come on, it's the same JPEG, it's the same video. Why can't somebody watch it for free, but then somebody else is the owner? But the same is true for photography or prints, actually. Yeah. So it's just this concept of ownership that we have to rethink, maybe. Another aspect of the NFT, the authenticity, difficult word. Of course, there's always been forgery and, you know, fake artworks, and lots of painters in China who can copy a perfect Picasso. So, and it was always difficult to prove and difficult to track it. And normally you had to trust a gallery that you would really buy the real Picasso. But when you go to a crypto platform and you know that the artist is really the artist and who really minted that NFT, you have the whole track record on the blockchain. So there's definitely a huge step forward in terms of authenticity, so that you don't have to trust the galleries anymore, but you can check it. You know, there are like hard data, there's a blockchain. And there's also this word called provenance, which is basically the history of ownership. So in the old artwork, it was important whether you bought this art, this piece of art somewhere on a flea market, and maybe it was just a produce of a Chinese painter, or if the gallery can prove, yes, Picasso sold it to this collector in that year, and then the collector sold it to that gallerist, and that gallerist then sold it to that museum, and then the Germans came and robbed it all, and whatever. I mean, the whole history is usually comes with the artwork, and that is part of the value. And now in the time of NFT and blockchain, this is no longer necessary. You have all the history. You have it all in the blockchain. You can trace it back to the original owner, to the original producer. And that's, of course, also a big step forward for the whole artwork. Now you may, and also very interesting aspect, royalties. In the old artwork, if I sold my painting for $1,000 to a collector, and then 5 years later I became super famous, and the collector sells the same artwork for $5 million, I still have the $5,000, nothing else. The artwork is gone. I don't own it anymore, which is a little bit unfair, I think. In the NFT world, you can define that for every secondary sale, so whenever the ownership changes, 10% or 15, 20% always goes back to the original artist. And I think that's only fair because it's the artist at the end of the day. Yeah? So you don't compete with your own less famous self from 5 years ago, but you can still benefit from that. And that means many artists who before had this, like, you know, there's this stereotype of the starving artist who could never live off their art and had to wait tables or drive Ubers. This is changing. It's not that everybody overnight now becomes rich, but more and more artists can live from their art. And that's a great thing. So there are less and less middlemen who suppress them. The artists can directly connect to the audience. They have this thing of the royalty. And I think that's definitely a step forward. And if this whole NFT hype goes away, which will probably do, we still have some substantial advantages that we can be happy about. So whether, I mean, I come back to this artwork here with the MTV logo, NFT MTV logo by Mojara, because it said, "Crypto killed the gallery star," which is, of course, a reference to the very first video that ever played on MTV. Video killed the radio star. But is it really true? Will galleries really disappear? I don't think so. I don't think that the galleries will be obsolete. I mean, of course, you can argue now artists can connect to the buyers directly online. And the blockchain tech provides authenticity and the provenance, so things that galleries did before, they don't have to do anymore. But then on the other hand, I think most artists, they still want to focus on the art, and they want somebody to do the sales for them and the marketing. Maybe not everybody. Maybe somebody's a multi-talent and wants it all. But I still think there's a role for galleries, for curators, for the all players of the art world. They just have to reinvent themselves. They do have to learn how to use a Web3 wallet and how to go on this marketplace, and they have to learn the new rules of the game, otherwise they will be way out of it. So galleries and collectors, museums, they will all have to adapt to the new world, but I don't think they will disappear. They just have to learn and reinvent themselves. So, because the world now, as we see it, the crypto artwork is quite confusing, I would say, yeah? There's so many marketplaces, and they're mushrooming, yeah? Every week there's a new one. Maybe you have these ones, Super Rare and OpenSea and Rarible. They're more or less well known, but there were nobody like 2 years ago. So probably next year there will be new ones and bigger players. It's also very confusing which technology to use. So far, most of the crypto art, most NFTs has been on Ethereum, but Ethereum has its disadvantages. It's very, very expensive. It's also quite centralized. So there are more and more alternatives to Ethereum. There's kind of this race: who will be the Ethereum killer? Will there be an Ethereum killer? That could be a long discussion for later. My personal bet is Bitcoin. Yeah, because now there's a second layer on Bitcoin which makes everything possible that you can do on Ethereum, just with the security and the decentralization of the Bitcoin network. So we will see lots of art platforms that are based on Bitcoin and this technology called Rootstock in the future. But we'll see. Well, it's good there's a competition. I'm very happy about that. So what's the rule for galleries? I would say educate collectors, provide some guidance, orientation, and still connect the artists and the collectors, because most artists, I think, they don't want that. They want to focus on the art, and they don't want to talk with these rich people and sell themselves. So I think there's still a role for galleries here in this world. So that's I have this little like startup gallery, so to speak. It's not a real physical world. It's like an online gallery, but we will have partnerships with real world. We call it Moonstock. And what we do, one thing is the Crypto Hall of Fame, which is basically a series of digital portraits with these crypto heroes, the giants of the crypto world. Satoshi Nakamoto, Nick Szabo, Adam Back, Vitalik Buterin, you name them. I think so far we have 13 of, there can only ever be 21. So this Crypto Hall of Fame fills up slowly but surely. And it is a series of portraits that you can buy as NFTs. But there's also this process, who will be inducted. It's a little bit like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Aaron, just
yes.
a quick question there.
Yes, sure.
That second, you know, the guy at the back with the Bitcoin sunglasses?
Yes.
Is that the guy whose name happens to be Satoshi Nakamoto?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
just for the people that aren't here, I find that really funny that he's in the Hall of Fame. So that second photo, obviously nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is, the guy who created the white paper for Bitcoin. But there's a random is he Japanese?
Well, he's Japanese origin, but he's US American from LA.
Is he?
Newsweek magazine tried to out him as we have found Satoshi Nakamoto, but it was quickly clear that this was just a hoax. And the funny thing, he was invited to the Latin American Bitcoin conference back in 2017, and I had the, dubious honor to interview him. I want to ask these people. Everybody knew it was a hoax, so we decided I played the stupid journalist, he plays Satoshi Nakamoto, and he came up with these glasses, which actually from the Newsweek cover, and it was a good laugh. Yeah, we had fun, and the artist that I managed, he saw that and said, "I want to do a picture of that. I want to do a portrait, and can you manage me?" So that's how it all started, basically. Yeah.
So the guy the guy that's called Satoshi Nakamoto, does he now spend? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Because his whole life must have changed. Because he walks down the street now, and there'll be people who literally think he invented Bitcoin still.
Well, his picture's definitely all over the internet.
Yeah.
He has been used as the face of Satoshi in a way, although everybody knows he's not.
Well, I don't say everybody, because there are definitely some people that still I speak to that have no idea Bitcoin.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
They don't know who created it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, his life has changed, and I know that the Bitcoin community has collected money for him, so he could pay his lawyers to sue Newsweek and all that. And he was very thankful to that. I think Andreas Antonopoulos organized that, and he's now. I mean, he was at that conference, and he was usually a very shy person, but there he would take a selfie with everyone, and he would dance with us. It was like, very interesting to see how this guy changed.
Cool, thank you for that. Sorry for that segue. Continue.
Yeah, no, good question. Thank you. Here are the first 12, I think. Yeah, one is missing. So these are the portraits that are in this gallery, and we will also show them in this CryptoCulture thing. Here's the artist, Max Cryptohead. I'm not sure if it's really his face. I'm sure it's not really his name. We only communicate through email and messages. He's a very shy and very introvert person. But it was his idea to do this exhibition about CryptoCulture. And what do I mean with that? I mean, it's actually more or less what I said in the beginning, that I consider crypto art in the very narrow and the very focused sense, crypto art that talks about CryptoCulture. And with CryptoCulture, I mean all these funny memes, expressions, visuals, words like HODL. This is a honey badger, which is also kind of the mascot of Bitcoin, which started out on a billboard by Roger Ver, who used to be the Bitcoin Jesus. No, he isn't anymore. And then people loved the honey badger, and they started wearing T-shirts, and at conferences used stuff. So it has become the mascot of Bitcoin, so to speak. So there's an animation in it, and also this picture. Or here this HODL is on the cover, and this is the catalog of the exhibition. We'll start the exhibition as it looks in March in New York, then it goes to Miami, then Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Mexico City, and then probably later to Europe. I have the catalog already here. It has been printed in El Salvador for Bitcoin. And So it looks like that. It is a book. Yeah, it is a book in its own right. Even if you miss the exhibition, you can still hopefully enjoy the book. And it's not a book with a lot of text. It's basically a coffee table book with some artworks in it. But every artwork has a function. Every artwork comes with a little story. So like HODL explains where this HODL comes from, what it means, or this Satoshi Nakamoto, for instance. Yeah, this is it also explains the story. What Daniel just asked. Yeah, why is this guy representing Bitcoin? Here in this case, this guy Cryptography, he loves to work with shredded credit cards. He used old credit cards and created a portrait of Satoshi Nakamoto with that. And I think the donation of that also went to the campaign to support this guy. Or this artwork, To the Moon, which plays with this. When Bitcoiners see that the price is going up, we wanted to go up even more, even further to the moon. Yeah, it has become one of these sayings of the crypto world. So Max Crypto had also created an artwork over that. Or this is the Lambo. The Lamborghini was actually the first car that you could buy with Bitcoin, I think in 2014 or so. And now it has become, in a way, a symbol for people who got rich in a short time, and now they could afford a Lamborghini, or 2 or 3, or however, yeah? So when do I become so rich with crypto that I can afford a Lamborghini? All the things, Lambo and Moon, that's part of CryptoCulture. Here, the laser eyes. This is artwork by the artist Dinora Delphine from New York. And so these laser eyes, that means that you are a crypto supporter, kind of in a secret way. You don't have a bee or something, or honey badger, just the laser eyes. And I think the most famous person who used that is the president of El Salvador, when he announced that El Salvador would become the first country in the world to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. He changed his Twitter profile and Instagram, and suddenly he had these laser beams as eyes. So this is also one of these secret symbols of the crypto movement. So that's what we do. We hope you can all come to one of these exhibitions in whatever, New York, Miami, Mexico. Maybe we can also do something here. We'll see. I mean, it's all digital. It can be transported. Of course, we want to cooperate with the big galleries and really bring it into the old artwork. If you want to know more, we have some few copies of the book here. Actually, you can only buy it here now and in the Bitcoin Embassy in Mexico City. It's not on the market yet because we will only do that when the exhibition goes. But I have a few copies and I would sign it for you if you want. And of course, we sell it for Bitcoin, Lightning Network. And now I think it's time for questions, right?
I'm over
Danielle,
here.
you're my...
Can we give Aaron a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you.
We're gonna put some lights on.
Yes, please.
I've got some questions as well. Do we have any questions? We've got one at the front, we've got one at the back, got a couple there. Okay, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. So do we have a mic for the front? Madalat 4. Someone's coming now. Cool. What's your name, sir?
Spencer.
Spencer.
My question is there a limited edition to your book?
Ooh.
Like, is there a certain
Absolutely.
amount?
I mean, at the moment I have like 500 printed, and there will be one with the signatures of all the artists. So it's not ready. I have to go and meet all the artists, and that will be probably the very scarce thing that will sell for, I don't know, 69 million or something.
So get your bids in now.
And you get it with a signature. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much, Spencer. Guy at the back.
Jamie.
First of all, thank you for the presentation.
What's your name, sir?
This is Jamie.
President?
He talked before.
It's Jamie. First of all, thank you for the presentation. Good story. We're talking a lot about NFTs and art, which is, I can understand that, is a good use case.
Just try and keep it as close as you can.
Okay.
There we go. Hi, Jamie.
Hi. And without answering my own questions, there's a lot of use cases for NFTs, right? Maybe real estate, investments, even gaming, owning your own land or whatever. What do you think is another really good use case for NFTs besides art?
I think there are many good use cases. You mentioned some of them, real estate, or I think everything could be a use case for NFTs except money. Everything that should have a certain scarcity, a certain uniqueness could be use case for NFTs. I think the reason why at the moment everybody's talking about art, and thank you for the good question, because I actually forgot that. I should have said that NFT is not an art thing. Now everybody talks about it in the context of art. Because I mean, art is attractive. Everybody loves art, and there's a big reason for it. Because there has not been a market for digital art because of this impossibility of make it scarce. So there is this obvious use case of making digital art scarce, and there are no incumbent players. There are no incumbent players.
If I can add to it, it's like the first time that artists can actually become rich without dying, right? I mean, not after their death, they can now
I
actually...
think there are some artists like whatever. I think Damien Hirst and Jeff Koons, the big names, they're pretty rich. But I guess the gallerists are richer. But I think the important thing is, if you want to replace, if you want to introduce NFTs in the real estate world, you have all this, the registries of the government where you have to, and they have their business. It's not going well. It's very cumbersome. It's very slow. It's very expensive. It should be replaced. But it's the same thing as the central bank and Bitcoin. I mean, of course, all the central banks and all the banks should be replaced by Bitcoin immediately. But of course, there's a little struggle in that. And in the art world, the interesting thing is there was nobody to fight against it. The old galleries, they didn't care. They have their physical art, their traditional art, or they would sell video art in the form of a VHS player with a video on. But for JPEGs, there was no market. And that's why all these marketplaces could mushroom so quickly, and it will not be as easy in the other areas. That's, I think, why there's such a focus on art. But we should keep it in mind that NFTs can be everywhere. I think games is probably the next big industry for that, yeah?
I think so too. And besides games, is there something that you really think like this is something to keep your eyes on, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
A different sector, something else like that?
I think he's asking, besides gaming, do you see another sector where NFTs will be a major component?
Yeah.
We're hearing music down in this corner here.
Well, music, I think, is a little difficult because music, I mean, you want to have the music that everybody listens to your music. Yeah, music should not be scarce. You could then add something that there are these, like a fan token, and only the fans who own that token can have that like private concert in their living room or whatever, or they can go backstage. So that scarcity that is just for a chosen few, that may be something on top. But I don't think that people will release their songs as NFTs. That doesn't make sense.
Can I challenge that? Because if we remove scarcity as a value, obviously scarcity is a value. I've got loads of friends that are artists and they get paid like nothing. And if you're not on Spotify, nobody hears it. So you move music onto a blockchain. Not only does an artist understand how many times they're being played, where they're being played, but they get paid for every play directly, cutting out, what is it, PSR? Is the big international, like if you're not, I think it's called PSR or something like that. They own the rights or the distribution of music, and it's killing artists.
Yeah. Using digital rights, using the blockchain for music makes a lot of sense. But you don't want the scarcity in it. You want to have millions of users. So it can be a token. It can be some like tracking function. There are lots of things, technology that makes sense. But just the non-fungibility, it does not make sense in the song itself.
Agreed.
It might make sense in the special message to the fan, the special rights, in collectibles, something that is rare, yeah? And you still have that. I mean, I always give this example of the White Album by the Beatles, which many people own, yeah, millions, yeah. In the first, I think, 1,000 copies, they had their serial numbers. So these 1,000 copies, now with the numbers 1 to 1,000, they're very rare. And the numbers 1 to 4, they're even more rare. But guess who owned them? Yeah, the Beatles themselves. So if somebody then bought number, let's say 3, and was signed by George Harrison or whatever, this probably costs $1 million. Although it's the same music, it's the same cover. It's this artificial thing in the signature. So that may make sense, but you have to be famous for that. Yeah, it's not something you start with. So tokens, yes. Blockchain, yes.
I can see
NFTs,
the difference now.
I would doubt. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We have a Tosin want to add to this topic a little bit.
Oh yeah, please.
Actually, the scarcity part's not with Bitcoins or whatever, with the NFT thing, is not the first time that popular artists have done that, because if you probably know Jean-Michel Jarre, the guy of Oxygen,
sure.
because I think in the early 80s he did an album, it's called Music for Supermarkets or something like that, and there's just one copy that he sold for, I don't know, like $1 million or so back in the day. So we're talking about 40 years ago, so that was an awful lot. And I also think that because artists have actually tried different pricing models in the last 15 to 20 years because of all the royalty issues thanks to MP3s and so on. Because like even Trent Reznor tried to do the model, like, to pay what you think it's worth. At some point, because he got out of his record deal with a major label, and then he released an album and said, yeah, just pay me as much as you want to. So I think that there might actually be something something to go for that in the NFT.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I try to say in my talk. All these things are not totally new. This thing of restricting things to limited edition and giving a signature and all that has been done for ages. We just have better tools now. I mean, it's quite easy to forge a signature. It's impossible to forge a private key or a digital signature. It's impossible, basically. So there is a different level of quality that we have now, but the principles are not entirely new. So I agree with you, yeah?
Okay.
You've got another question there? Okay, cool.
I have a question. So
yeah, good.
I'm an artist. Do we have artists here? Great.
We got one artist.
No, we have more. We have more.
There
This
we
is the
go.
artist side.
They're in that corner.
They're in a corner of the art. So if I'm
Get
an
them.
artist and I'm curious about how am I creating my first NFT collection? I have pictures or I have any type of art. Is there like an easy process for someone who's not coming from, the crypto world and want to know like 1, 2, 3, maybe?
I mean, creating the art is the first step, and that has actually nothing to do with the NFT. Yeah,
Right.
How you create your art and how good your art is, that's a totally different thing. I mean, that's also important to know. There are interesting new forms of art, generative art where algorithms come in, art where the artist is basically programming things and the computer puts things together. There are lots of interesting new developments, and especially in the NFT world, there's a strong focus on that because people are quite tech apt, yeah. But then the NFT is basically the certificate of ownership, and there are all these platforms, OpenSea and Rarible and many others. Yeah, there's so many that actually, I honestly don't have the total overview. It's kind of impossible, but it's relatively easy to. I mean, you just upload your artwork. Maybe it's a JPEG, maybe it's a video, whatever it is. You upload it. You have a description. For instance, you define how many royalties you want to have, 10% or 15%, and you say this is for a fixed price or this is an auction. So it's quite easy to use. Yeah, it's not difficult. Of course, you have to have a certain knowledge of like Web3 wallets. You have to have your MetaMask wallet and connect it, which is still new for most people, I think. You have to get familiar with this concept. Everything they do costs money. Every transaction you pay the so-called gas fees, and at the moment in Ethereum it's incredibly expensive. So people are now looking for alternatives, Polygon or Solana or Voyager, and there's so many of them that I really stopped researching, and I'm betting all my energy on Bitcoin, yeah, and that will be much cheaper, and there will be an artist platform. There will be several artist platforms based on Bitcoin now in the upcoming weeks and months, yeah. I don't know if
he asked if there's any now.
Yeah. I think there's one called what's the name, Stacks or something. And there is Rare Toshi, but it's very limited in that all the art has to talk about Bitcoin, which is okay, I think, for an exhibition like mine, but it's very limited very much. So the art platform that I find the most interesting is called Carnival. It will be launched in April at a big conference in Miami, but it has a focus on Latin American art. So you're not Latin American, sorry, but maybe there will be something for Middle Eastern art or whatever,
Manana.
world art. Or so the world is confusing, I admit. There's so much going on, and it's kind of, you don't really know where to start or where to stop. And at the moment, the high gas fees on Ethereum are a big issue. I think that will be resolved by whatever, a big competitor or update of Ethereum. I don't know. I'm not so much a techie, you know. So, but it's not so difficult to start, actually. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We got a question for anyone else got questions so we can see? We got one here.
Well, then we have a person waiting here.
Oh no, we got someone waiting. So Madala's after that.
Okay.
No, Madala, I want.
Hello.
Oh, go for it.
Okay, so I want to add something
Yeah.
to what Orid asked as an artist also. So from my point of view, most of the artwork we see in NFTs is auto-generative art, which I think that's just a bubble that some
I agree,
moment
yes.
will deflate. So what I'm asking is, most of that artwork has been created, supported by huge marketing campaigns. To create a Discord, to create a Twitter, etc., and they sell for speculation, basically. So real artists that are creating artwork and putting it up in NFTs, how can we compete when we don't have that kind of streams or resources to create those Discords, Twitter, etc., and create a huge crowd? What do you think?
Well, I don't agree that these generators, like the CryptoPunk copycats, I don't agree that they are like totally dominating the market. I think I think if you go on this marketplace, you see much more like normal original art. Yeah, they of course they're very much in the headlines because it's kind of a new thing. It's also a very debatable thing. Yeah, is this really art? Is this just there to make money? I think they receive a lot of criticism now, and probably for a reason. So that's why I think a lot of focus on it. But I don't think that most of the art on the marketplace is generative. It's like CryptoPunks and so forth. I don't think so. This problem of marketing your art, yeah, you still have it. It's also not true that all these generative campaigns all have their big marketing efforts. Maybe Lava Labs has, yeah, because they made a lot of money. But I think there are now lots of,
Successful one.
I think there are now lots of artists saying, that's the way to do. You do like a pixelated animal, and you make lots of funny copies, haha, now I get rich. And I bet, I once heard that like every day 15 of these campaigns go out. And I bet like 90% of them are not successful, yeah? And probably in the future even less because people get tired of it, yeah? Now it's a kind of a trend, yeah, it's a bubble, it will go away. This issue of, marketing and how to build up your followership, this is still a big, but on the other hand, not everything is just money and marketing. I think there are these phenomena where an artist has a genuine followership. He just is good. I mean, we have the tools, yeah? Everybody now can go on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever. It requires a bit of work, but if you're really great, there are always these cases where suddenly somebody becomes a star overnight because many people love him or her without necessarily a lot of money behind it. And then on the other, you see lots of marketing campaigns which invest a lot of money on Instagram, advertising, whatever, and nobody cares because it's crap, yeah? So I think that the issue is not so different than before. I mean, there's always... Also back to your question, it's relatively easy to put your NFT on a marketplace, but it's not so easy to get buyers, yeah? You need to have your fans, you need to have connections to the collectors, to the people with money. You have to build up your reputation and a name. So I think this thing that happened in the old artwork, you need to have your exhibition, you had to be in some publications. I don't think this has changed significantly. I think just everything is a bit faster and easier to reach. I mean, things are not as close and rigid as they used to be. It's not such a close circle, but it still requires a lot of effort. You have to be good, and
still requires some work.
Yeah. Requires work.
I suppose the big difference that I see really is the same way when we have online purchasing or online stores. You still have to put work in. You still got to produce good things, but moving online didn't just make it easy, but it did open up new revenue streams, new customers. So until we have this, really, if you want to buy art, you either need to know what you're buying or go to a gallery. That's it. And at least now with moving with the differences of blockchains and with more digital art and crypto art, you can open yourself up to more people. Go on, Madeleine.
What I wanted to say is that, for example, in my personal experience, most of my collectors are conventional collectors. They would like to have the piece. So now that I'm telling them I have a collection in NFTs, they go like, "What is that?" I can. It's a digital thing. I can have it. I can make a picture of my walk. No. Call me when you've got a tangible piece.
Yeah, but then they didn't have. You could connect a physical piece with an NFT. An NFT is the certificate of ownership. It's a provenance, it's a track record, and there's still a physical piece.
I know.
It's not necessary. Not all the NFTs have to be like little JPEGs. Yeah. Suddenly now there's a market for that, and there are people who pay a lot of money for JPEGs or GIFs or MPEGs. Maybe not this old-fashioned type of collectors. I totally understand, but these people exist, and they even say, "No, I don't want anything to. I'm a digital nomad. I want the art on my phone. I don't have place to store a canvas or a sculpture. I don't have that. I just have my carry-on luggage, and I carry my whole art collection on my laptop." This is a new generation of art collectors, but they also have money.
Exactly. That's what I'm asking. How to grow into the new crowd of new collectors. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
How to do it without having those resources to create this crowd.
It's a very good question. If I could answer totally, like I would be now rich. I mean, what I try. I mean, the reason why we do this exhibition is to like connect these worlds. On the one hand side, we talk to established galleries to say, hey, this is a new movement, and you want to inform your collectors, and we will do workshops for them. We already did that in New York and went quite well. So on the one hand side, we want to reach out to the collectors, but of course at the same time, if there's an exhibition about cryptocurrencies, I mean, I bet the crypto nerds will come, you know? They will come say, yeah, great, we're crypto and we're cool, and we know what the honey badger is, we know what HODL is, and so we want to connect these two worlds. So on the one hand side, to reach the people who got rich with Bitcoin and now want to go into Ethereum, whatever, and also want to invest in art. But at the other side also, I mean, not all collectors are like very conservative and very rigid. Many of them are actually open to this new movement. It's my experience. So making this exhibition might work, hopefully, yeah. And it's not only just for our artists. Hopefully it's for the whole crypto art movement, yeah. But yeah, if you have good experience, let me know. I can.
Cool. We're just gonna move on from there. We're coming to the last 15 minutes. We got a question here. 1, 2, 3. The lady there, 4, 5. Okay, I might squeeze you in early. But anyway, Vadim, who we got next?
Hi, hello.
What's your name, sir?
Oh, Harry.
Harry.
Oh, Harry. There you go.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah, we just call it. Oh, let's call it. Let's send it right there.
3
Thank you
names.
very much for your presentation. Yeah, Aaron. Quick question. It's kind of a 3-part question. The first one is kind of rhetorical, but I'll ask it anyways.
Speak loud. I can't hear you. I think
Is that better?
See if you can have that.
better?
See if you can have that microphone touch your chin.
Just touch my chin.
Just touch your
You know, I
chin.
don't want it to get too.
I know. We're
spread it
working
to the
on it.
next
We're
person.
working on it.
Just kidding. So, anyway, 3-part question. First question is, do you have NFTs set up? Obviously, yes, I'm assuming, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be giving this presentation, right? 2, where can we find your NFTs that you have created? And 3, if one were to start creating or wanted to create NFTs, what would you recommend as far as a program that they have to download, or however they get it minted? How would you recommend that? Hope that.
Well, to the last question, I cannot really recommend it. I think the word is very confusing at the moment. You can, of course, go to a big marketplace like OpenSea, and it makes it quite easy, but you might also get lost. Or you go to a specified. It's very hard for me to recommend. As I go now on Carnival, I could maybe, hopefully, recommend in the future, but it's not there yet.
Oh, I don't. Sorry, I don't know if Carnival. I don't know how OpenSea or Carnival work necessarily. I don't know if that's where you go and you create the NFT. But I know that you can use like programs. I'm not mistaken. Sort of like, you know, like AutoCAD is for like architecture, and I think that you go to like a specific like kind of like program to create the NFTs, or you just saying you create them through OpenSea and then they get minted there. That's I guess.
Yeah. The NFT is a token on the blockchain, you know, and for that you either program your own smart contracts, which is what we actually did in the beginning. We had a program and he made our smart contracts, but now it's much easier to just go to some of the they make it for you. It's really easy to use. It still doesn't mean that you reach necessarily a big crowd, but it's quite easy to use. And how to create the artwork itself, whether you use like Photoshop or Illustrator, whatever. of course, a number of. I know my artist, he loves Photoshop. And when he does anything with moving image, he also uses Adobe Premiere. They work well together. But that's the matter of taste and what you like. I mean, there are 3D artists who work with 3D. There's a huge number of tools. That's something I could recommend. What was there another question which I forgot?
No, that was pretty much it. Yeah, it was where can we find your art?
Well, we have the moonstock.net, which is a gallery. I think that's the best address. Moonstock.net. That's my gallery. But it's not really. I mean, I think it will really only function really well when we have this big platform at our site, which is carnival.art.
Wonderful.
And that will be in March, April. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank
Who's
you very
next?
much. Oh, we had another
Can we
question.
give a microphone to Mark because the person
Yeah, go on.
left?
Let's do us. We're at the back.
Hi, I'm Mark. I got
Hi, Mark.
kind of a follow-up question. I forgot his
Jimmy.
name. How do you see the transition to, because I heard some people speaking about using NFTs for physical items, and you're already...
Mark, just hold that mic a bit closer to your chin.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that already happens.
Okay.
That is already happening.
But
yeah.
how do you see that transition going? For example, I heard an example about somebody about a very very rare Rolex, and everybody wants to own it. But how do you? I heard somebody talking about it on some finance podcast, but I'm wondering how this.
What for instance, with paintings, that it would introduce a little. I think they're called RFC chips, right? That you have the paint, the physical thing, and then a chip, and you can scan it or have some kind of digital connection. Then your phone will tell you, yeah, this artwork is authentic, and it used to be have that owner. And so this is all happening. There are several companies and platforms that are working on that. The focus is now very much on the digital art because there is this pain point. There was no market. There was a market for physical art, but of course you can connect the two. And you somehow have to do that. And with the Rolex, I don't know, maybe you put a QR code on it.
Yeah, okay. My second question was about one of your slides. It was about makerspace. I also know something about 3D printing, and 3D printing brings digital art together with making it physical. I wonder if you know anything, if there are any NFT alternate how do you say it? Things around 3D printing and art that can be 3D printed. Because I saw Makerspace on it, and I think it's something, a website that has something to do with that.
Well, it is also an NFT platform, one of the bigger ones, one of the more selective ones. I'm very sure that it exists. I'm not an expert in 3D printing. I think it's an exciting new development. And I'm very sure that artists use 3D printers these days.
I think it can be a very nice match because you can make NFT physical when you buy something and get paid for it.
Yeah. You might even buy the program and then print it out yourself in your own NFT 3D printer. So there's so many things possible. I think we're really just at the very, very beginning. And I'm pretty sure some things that will be big in the next years, I have no idea how to predict that. Yeah, I mean that's the nature of new things. Yeah, that makes it exciting actually. Yeah,
I was just wondering because it was on your slides. But thank you very much for your presentation.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mark. We've got a question over at the front.
I wanted to add something to...
What's your name, brother?
My name is Gary, and thank you very much for the effort, the information, everything. It's great. It was more of a comment to try to explain, how NFTs and blockchains are more of an authority thing. What do we trust? Where do we put the trust on? Right now, with money, it's to banks. To property is a government or a registered. NFTs in the art, it's the easiest thing to replace. Who do we trust to say this piece of art it's mine? The blockchain, a piece of technology, something that will be encrypted, nobody can hack it, etc. Everything's going to move towards that. But the reason why I wanted to take this microphone was because there were people asking how, as an artist, how I can start without being famous or without really having the platform. And I wanted to explain it with a little example of a project, the Mexican project that it's like the Loteria. I don't know if you've seen the Mexican Loteria, that it's like a bingo. with the bingo, you have different cards, 52, 55, 54 cards, like any other card deck, and they took 12 artists, Mexican elite artists, and everybody painted or illustrated each of these cards, the 54 cards, and they put them all together and they put them in little envelopes. You buy, packs of 3, and then you play the bingo game on the blockchain. So they are making a game that makes artists being known, where they can show their art, and it's not auto-generated. They created each of these pieces of arts, and when you buy them, you buy the ownership of that. The creator will get money every time that you trade it, for the game or just as a fan art. And in this case, you've seen all the murals in Playa del Carmen. There's a lot of artists that have done those murals in this project. So, there's admiration, and somebody, you might want to get some piece of art and own a piece of art of that person at the same time that you play a game. And it's a way for artists, local artists or whatever. If you have 10 people, you can make a collection and you mint it and you create a game out of it. Or we're talking about the new generations. A 25-year-old guy right now or a 30-year, they grew up with Pokemons. It's like the collectors meeting art. And sometimes you see vinyl toys that are 10 grand. And it's the person who made the design of that vinyl art, and those same illustrators, those same 3D artists are now selling their pieces, their art through this. So it's decentralizing, everything, and it's just showing us how we're going to be registering property in the future. Because right now we trust the government because they want us to pay taxes every year for that piece of property. Why we trust them? And
because we love taxis.
Exactly.
Don't trust, verify. That's the slogan of the whole crypto movement. It's also true for
exactly.
Provenance.
I think that's most of us can say that we trust technology more than any register. Any other system that it's been in place right now. You can trust a technology that has a white paper, that it's not hackable, that it's always going to be there, and it's transparent, and it's just, you don't have to go to the notary public and pay whatever he wants, to register a property. You just mint the property, or you do that. Decentralized.
I just want to caveat that I trust the technology that's open source, or at least verifiable by people that are doing the verifying out of the goodness of their heart.
Open.
Like non-governmental technology.
Open. Yep.
Cool. Okay, we're going to move on. We're coming to the last 5 minutes before we segue into somewhere else. What's your name, my lady?
Hi, I'm Leandra. Nice
What's
to
your name,
meet
sorry?
Leandra.
Leandra.
Yes. Thank you so much for all the information. My question maybe is a little bit in the direction that we heard before. In the last couple of weeks, I heard several stories of NFT collections being hacked and stolen. And I want to ask if you are worried about that, about the security, or what you think about that for the future, if it's safe to put your art there, or if it can be hacked and stolen easily.
I haven't heard of hacks, like actually hacks. That would be a bad thing, of course. But usually these platforms should be safe, and the smart contracts should be audited. I think what happens is that people just copy somebody else's art and pretend it to be their own, right? Is that what you mean? That they just took some image and then they went to some platform, minted it, and pretended it was their own art? Is that what you mean?
Like, the way I understood it is that the NFT collection was hacked and stolen.
Okay. Well, didn't hear about
because
that.
Because I'm really interested in this topic. I want to get into it. And then when I heard that, I was like, maybe not so good.
Maybe, maybe Leandra is talking about the situation in Binance when they hack your account, when they buy NFT.
Well, in Binance, you can hack the account of Binance, buy NFT, and then transfer to someone this NFT and another platform.
I think either way with this is we're going to have to segue out. Most 99% of all hacks you see in crypto have got nothing to do with the underlying technology of crypto. Some of them are smart contracts, let's say, but that's not a flow of blockchain. That's whoever wrote and programmed the smart contract. But most of the hacks we see and everything in crypto is your fault. Like it's passwords, it's lack of security and privacy. It's never the hacking of a blockchain. So I get messages every month like, oh, here's another proof why crypto's not safe. And then you look at it and you're like, it's got nothing to do with crypto. That's a human error. It's normally human errors. Yeah, but I'm going to have to hold it there because we do have someone else equally as special that's speaking today. So thank you very much. So just for now, Aaron, thank you so much. Aaron, can we please give Aaron a round of applause? He's this is a copy of his book. For now, Aaron's just going to sit down. We're going to do where we'll be able to buy books at the end. Yeah, so when the event's finished in 15 minutes, we'll set up a little table right here. If you want to buy his book, you can. Are you also taking cash or is it crypto only?
I take it's 80,000 satoshis, 0.0008 Bitcoin, or $40 or 800 pesos.
$40, 800 pesos, or you can pay in Bitcoin. Preferably Bitcoin.
If you did the math, it's cheaper in Bitcoin.
Ooh, cheaper. Okay, I'm going to leave that with you there today. Okay, so before we finish, can you hear me okay? If I can have your attention for the last 10 minutes, please. Sorry, guys, last 10 minutes, and then you can be going, because at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a lot of loud noise at all these different locations, so that we do a hard stop at 9, please. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is put your hand up if you paid to get into this event. That's my point. You did not pay to get into this event because we do these events for free out of the goodness of our hearts. However, every single week for the last few weeks, be careful at the front here, every single week for the last few weeks, sorry man, keep quiet. We fill this jar, and we fill this jar because even though it does say tips, if we have an artist in here, if you could please redo this so it says giving, because every single week we collect for a wonderful charity. And so far, every week that we've done this, myself and Chris have doubled all of the money that's gone in. And we have committed to be raising some money, which we'll talk about in a minute, for this lady here, who is called Edith, who I really asked to come down to speak to you all. Edith is in charge of a charity called CEAI. So whilst I ask her some questions, can we all give a really proud, brave round of applause for Edith for coming down to speak today? Let me get you a microphone. Perfect. There we go.
Okay.
Edith.
Hola.
Is it on?
Bueno, yes.
Yes, on. Cool. Thank you so much. If you could please, so I would love you really quickly to just explain to the people here, what is it in general that how would you describe what your organization does?
How I can describe? I can describe like with really love, true love for the kids and teenagers with disability.
So you work with kids and teenagers with disabilities. And is that here in Playa del Carmen?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
And they gave us, and we always teach something. And they have a lot of love.
So Edith works primarily with children with disabilities. Up to what age? What are the age ranges? 4 years old?
Until 40.
Until 40?
Until 40, because here in... sorry for my English. I hope that you can understand me.
I think your English is good, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah? Keep going. Don't worry. Don't worry.
So here in Playa del Carmen, the government or the other institutions, they accept kids only until 14 years old. Normally, on the 14 and 18 years old, the kids or the teenagers with disability, they stay at home. And in our school, we call it school because it's our school. We work with them since 8 a.m. in the morning until 1 p.m. And they have different activities according to their abilities. And example, my daughter, because this is for my daughter. I have a mom of one teenager. She has 16 years old, but he has several disability. She's depend for me 100%. But she's happy in the school. She always have an activities and she always learns something. Like example for the sensorial, you know, when the kids they need a sensorial work that can focus the eyes and some things, and we always give them the sensorial activities with the lights, with sounds, and we have one classroom with special sensorial activities. So most of our teenagers and kids, they have several disabilities, and we call multi-disabilities because some of them have two disabilities. One example, cerebral paralysis with what say the
eye.
¿Qué sí? No ven, ciegos.
Blind.
Okay. And paralysis, cerebral paralysis. Example, or cerebral paralysis with autism. So that's the kind of person, because they are person that we attend in our charity school.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Edith.
Thank you.
So Edith in particular, just to get really clear here, is like, does anyone here has they ever worked with, or maybe they've got family that have different disabilities? If you're happy to raise your hand, or you know people. Like, so my cousin has Williams syndrome, and which is a defect of the heart. And if you've ever worked or you know families that have got children with disabilities, you'll also understand like the additional. It's a lot more pressure on a family to look after a child as they're growing up. And so I used to work a lot with charities that work with children with different disabilities, and I know how important that is for not just the parents, but most importantly the child, because from what we spoke about here in Mexico and Playa del Carmen, there's no support for these children. So the reason I wanted to work with Edith in particular is because one of the reasons I love crypto is it attracts the weirdest, nerdiest, freakiest parts of society sometimes. Like, oh, everyone that kind of goes, oh, what's that really weird thing over there, crypto? It's like a homing beacon. And all the normies are just outside walking around not in crypto because crypto is dangerous. You know, it's bad. And so I'm always interested in these fringe and different groups. And when it comes to help and support, like, I mean, who decides who needs help more? Dogs and trees and cats and children and old people and this. We all need help and support. But Edith really does what she does from the heart. And so what we decided to do was, I wanted to kind of put your hand up if you trade crypto, like, or if you're living more on crypto, if you're willing to. Yeah? Okay. Less hands than I thought. So what I'm interested in is normally with a charity, when you give a charity some money, they will take the money and they'll spend the money to do whatever they're doing. What we're trying to do is create a pot in between. So any of the money that comes in, we put it in this, let's call it like a giving hedge fund. And then the idea is that we're working with that money to grow it. And then the pot pays out every single month. So we agreed with Edith to pay Edith $550 a month. And that was to take your teaching staff. You were teaching 2 days a week? Three? You're three.
Now 3.
So she lost her funding and she had to go down from 5 days to 3. And I said to her, what do you need? And she said, I want to teach children 5 days a week.
Correct.
And I said, what's the difference? And she said, $550 a month. So now with the money that we generate here, which goes into the pot, which we grow, that pot, our aim is that pays out $550 a month so that she can solve her one issue, which is to be able to teach these children 5 days a week. That's all she wants. She doesn't want repairs. And so we were able to do that this month. We've committed to 6 months, which means even if we don't raise the money here, myself and my partner Christina, we're gonna fill the gap, because she needs to know that she can commit to that. We can't have fluctuations. So I share all this because I want you guys to understand that crypto can change a lot of things. Like, I mean, crypto is you have the same opportunity with $1 that you have with $1 million, and we don't have that in traditional finance. But there's no point, like, there's one thing crypto's taught me is that this whole concept of having to work and We're just brought up with this mentality that that's the way it is. And crypto can liberate so much of that. But there's no point doing it if we can't help other people. There's no point doing it at all. And so there reaches a point when we're doing this, and we do this for free, so that then we can help other people like Edith. So Edith, from our heart, thank you so much for being open to receiving.
Thank you,
We're still working on getting her an exchange
Gracias.
in her charity's name, so we don't have to give her cash every month. It is an art trying to get your organization a registered crypto exchange, but I'm working on it.
Yes.
I am working on it. So if there, as ever, if we didn't have this team until people started, if there are people here who wish to help specifically with the giving element, then please come and see myself or Chris, because these events, they might come and you sit down and it looks pretty simple, but these events take a lot of work. And we don't get paid for it, and we buy all the kit ourselves. So if there are people that are here a bit longer term in Play.Carmen and you want to help out, whether it's on the giving, whether it's ourselves here, please do come and see us, because it's only when we work together that we can actually make big, big differences. So Edith, thank you so much. Please give her one more round of applause. I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to pass around our jar. Remember, if you're an artist and you want to color it in, let us know. We used to take crypto only until we realized none of you want to let go of your crypto at all. And someone kept saying, just bring us a jar and we'll put cash in it. So please fill it up as much as you can. Help Edith with what she's doing. It is from our hearts, and we appreciate it very, very, very much. See.
No, well,
1 second, talk amongst yourselves. Oh, we have a crypto art donation. Please give Madeline a round of applause. We have our first, I don't know how we'll do it exactly, but thank you very much for that. We will find a way to auction it off and go and find your nice piece of art. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that so much. Time check. 5 minutes. Okay, you can hear the big bass in the background as they're warming up. Boom, pow, 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 slapping that bass. So, let's have a seat. What are we finishing off with? Oh, yeah. Do we have Andrea here? No? No takers? All right, so there goes our surprise at the end. So we're going to just kind of do it this way around. Does anyone know who this guy is at the back here? Stand up for me. Stand up. Come here. He doesn't like front of house stuff. It's okay. You're safe. You're safe. I got you. Does anybody know who this guy is? If you know his name, shout it out. Shout it out. None of you would be here if it wasn't for this man. Because as much as I can stand here and take the limelight and do all of the microphone-y stuff, yeah? Is that okay? There we go. Nothing happens without this man putting a big shift in. I always ask this, who's had a 5-minute audio message from this man? Yeah? Who's had a 10-minute audio message? A couple of you? Yeah? Any higher than 10? I've had a 15 once. That was good. 20?
Without me ever meeting them.
Oh, sorry, yeah, without Chris ever meeting them. Like, this man does a lot. So I just want to say 2 things. Number 1, I love working with this guy, and he puts so much effort in on the back end so that we can have a really slick event. Has it been a slick event? Yeah, apart from the audio a little bit. Are you good? Yeah, today's a little rough. But today is also, though, this week, it's his birthday. Yeah? And so what do we do on birthdays? We do 2 things. We drink, we eat cake, and we sing. Happy birthday to you. Whoop-dee-woo. Happy birthday to you. Ow, 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 happy birthday, dear Chris. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
So,
And it's 1P. Did you know?
it's what? I spelled your name wrong. I told you it's so precise. Maybe it's got 2 P's because you're just so perfect. All right, you can't open this now because you will cry. Okay, so that's your warning, but that is for you. It says, what do you give a guy that has so much already? This was my mental thought. And so this is the beginning of something that's really, really special. You can do a picture another time with it. Yeah?
Seriously, I can't open it.
You can't open it, dude. Do you really want to open it?
No, I mean in what context? I mean,
It's safe. It's safe, yeah. But it comes from my heart, and you might cry. As long as you're cool with that, open it.
Okay. Right?
You want to open it? All right, drum roll. Give us the drum roll. You got to keep drumming. You got to keep drumming. Okay. Oh, fuck. I sealed it quite a lot.
A key?
Who's got a key? Come on, we got 3 minutes. You got a knife. That's a prepared man at the front here. You carry that around. You're like, please, someone ask me for a knife today. Please. You got it? Don't cut yourself. I'm not gonna look. It's safer. Tell me when he's opened it. Okay, you gotta look. Oh, there's a letter.
Okay.
You're gonna have to read it.
We'll read it first.
We're gonna read the letter.
Oh man, let's see. Oh shit.
Maybe I just explain it to you, and now we can
No.
do that one afterwards.
Can you? Okay. To Chris. A bro.
Yeah,
Phone.
bro.
A bro. Phone.
Yeah.
A bro phone is never owned, only shared from one bro to another, each end being passed down and down from bro to bro, forever connecting each bro. Whether I see you every day for the rest of my life, never, or anything in between, I know that I not only consider you a friend and bro, but the bro I choose to leave my end of the bro phone with. Pass it on with love and care when the time or opportunity presents itself for you to tell a bro what he means. Working, living, playing, and building with you has been amazing. This is not goodbye, but it is a thank you. It is the closing of some proverbial chapter, at least in my life, and equally the opening of a new one. I surrender. I love you, and you are always enough, Dan. Oh. Oh, shit. I love you too, bro. That's as far as I go. Thank you so much, Dan. My middle. You gotta put it the other way. What technology? Thank you, man.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Chris. Thank you, bro.
In here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, guys, I've been traveling for about 15 years. It's always a new place every 3 months, with the exception of 2019. We all know what happened 2020, and so it planted me here. And the first thing was first to create a community, and it started with Aaron starting a community, and then springing up some events as an offshoot of that. And just, I mean, you guys are like family. Some I don't know as much as others, but I do mean that. It is like a family unit. But also wanted to say with Edith, I mean, just think about it though. We have a community here. We all get together, and through donations, we're able to kind of keep the circle going and helping. But by utilizing crypto, and it just keeps going every month. But it's not only the children, or from ages, you know, all the way up to 40. It's not just them, but it's the parents, the teachers. But think about the parents as well. If they have much more free time and they're better for it, and you know, because they have that a bit of it alleviated by being at the school. So I mean, it's huge, and I don't know. I think the whole thing is beautiful. Thank you very much. I'll wrap it up there, and y'all have a good night. Sorry about the hiccups tonight. A lot is out of our control with the restrictions, and new shit comes up like the last minute, and you know, we do what we can. I know some people were pissed off at me at the gate, but we'll figure it out as time goes on. So.
All right, so we're going to finish it now. Who's never been to this venue before? Raise your hand. Awesome. This is Zilla Seba. These guys came to us when our last place closed down and we were like homeless without a venue. They were already in the community and they said, hey, we got a nice space. And they're into Bitcoin and they're just super easy to work with. So just for everyone that's never been here, if you have, for the Zilla Seba guys at the back, if everyone can look to the back of the room and give Zilla Seba a big round of applause. Because they're really beautiful at helping us. And so, our final things are going to be for our team. We have Vadim, who always helps us out. We have Sawai here. We got Orit here as well. Can we give them all a round of applause? We're going to hand this big wad of cash over to Edith, but I'm going to need it back to put it in crypto. But there you go. If you can take this from me, please. Thank you so much. And we wouldn't have an event if it wasn't for yourselves. So, final round of applause for everybody here. Have a great night. Take care and enjoy yourselves. Good night, everybody. You're free to go now.